What's up YouTube, this is Demkeys back again with another Unity tutorial. So recently one of my viewers requested me to make a tutorial on moving the enemy from point A to point B and back to point A. Similar to the movement of the mushrooms in the old 2D Mario games, if you remember. So this is one technique that you can use to do that. It's not the only technique, but it's definitely something to build off of. Alright, now real quick, we are just gonna set up the scene over here. I'm not gonna talk. I'm probably gonna speed up this portion. So just keep up. Alright, so our scene is set up. What we've done here is created three quads, in fact four quads. One of them I've just stretched it out, resized it to make it our ground, and all of these have box colliders attached to them, box collider 2D components. And this is a sphere that we are going to use as our player a little later, not right now. I've also attached a rigid body 2D component to this. Oh yes, sorry, I've renamed all of these objects, and I've attached a rigid body 2D component to the enemy object. This is so that collision can take place between this and these two. In order to have collision take place, either one of the two objects colliding needs to have a rigid body 2D component attached to it. Of course, both of them need to have some sort of collider attached, but a rigid body 2D component is necessary on at least one, otherwise collision is not going to take place. So now let's add a script, call this enemy move script. You will not be controlling the enemy. Sorry, enemy script 01. You will not be controlling the enemy. It's just going to be a script for the enemy to move automatically. So first we create a public float variable, call it move speed. Next, transform.translate move speed 0 0, and then multiply this by time.delta time. We use time.delta time so that the game is not frame rate dependent. If we don't use time.delta time, then you might actually have the object moving at different speeds on different systems. So it's necessary to use time.delta time. Of course, it depends what you're doing. In this case, we're going to use it. Next, we'll we're going to use on collision enter 2D and pass in a parameter collision 2D. And here, okay, let's save the script and go back to the scene. Select these two objects, left block and right block. Now, alright, so select left block and click where it says tag and click. Let's add a new tag and call it block. Now select left block and right block and set their tags to block. Now let's go back to our script and check if the object that our enemy has collided with has the tag block. If yes, then move speed should become a negative value, because initially it's going to be a positive value, meaning that the object is going to be moving towards the right. So at the first collision, the value is going to become negative, and that's going to make the object move towards the left. To do that, we'll use this operator. This is basically move speed equals move speed multiplied by -1. Now what's going to happen is when the value is positive, then move speed over here is going to become negative, and when it's negative, then negative multiplied by negative becomes positive, so then the value is going to become positive. Now let's test it and see if it works. Before that, we first need to set a speed for our enemy. Now, like I said earlier, we won't be looking at the game tab, we'll only be looking at the scene tab. So as you can see, the enemy is now moving between two objects. Upon colliding to one object, it changes direction, and then so on. Now just to see if we can actually make our player die by colliding with this enemy, let's go back to our player object and add a rigid body component and just quickly create a move script. So basically this code over here gives us control of the player object. We can move the player left and right, and we can also make the player jump. I have an error over here. Let's see my mistake. Alright, so now let's run the game. Wait, before that we need to set the move force and jump force. Jump force, let's keep it 400, and move force can be around 40. Let's keep it 10. Make sure the player is moving and jumping. Alright, so right now nothing is happening when the player collides with the enemy. Let's add a tag to the player, and that'll be the player tag. It's one of the default tags that's already created, so you don't need to create a new one. And let's go back to enemy move script 01 and create another if condition. If call.gameObject.tag is equal to player. If I haven't mentioned earlier, call is the variable that we created. We passed in as a parameter, and through call we are finding out which game object it is and finding out the tag of that game object. So if call.gameObject.tag equals player, then destroy call.gameObject. This is going to destroy whatever object is colliding with the enemy, if that object's tag is player. So let's see if this works. And there you have it. I hope this tutorial was helpful. Do check out these other videos as well. The video on the top left teaches you how to use the line renderer. The video on the top right teaches you how to use lens flares, and on the bottom left is a playlist for the Unity 4.6 UI Tools series. I'm also accepting donations. So if you would like to help me out, you can send your donations to my PayPal email address, which is mentioned on the screen and in the description down below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Leave your comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.
This is what they saying. What? How you feel, huh? This is what they saying. What? Yo, started out with nothing, then I turned myself to something. Everybody wanna claim a nigga when they hear you buzzing. Don't nobody wanna claim you when they hear you bugging. Not known to tell stories, not known for fronting.